Oh, this is such a hot topic. XP farming. Something every player loves and every developer seems to wrestle with. The player base wants it, but are the devs ignoring our pleas? Why don't we see double XP events like in other games? Stick around as we break this down. If you're as passionate about the Division 2 as I am, you've probably noticed some frustrating trends when it comes to XP farming and progression. The Division 2 developers have made some significant changes to XP earning in the game over time. Initially, there were several popular farming methods, whether it was Warhounds, Floor 100 in the Summit, or Floor 10, or even certain glitch exploits that players found and used. However, in an attempt to balance the game, Massive Entertainment rebalanced the XP system to make all activities provide relatively equal rewards. And they put down the ban hammer on anybody they could find using exploits. On the surface, this seems like a fair move, right? But let's dig a little deeper. Depending on who you ask, you will hear the best XP farms in the game are public executions and control points. Although these do give the best XP per hour in the Division 2, the reality is they're not actually XP farms. This is just the community making the most of what we have, which sadly isn't much. By flattening the XP curve, the devs inadvertently removed the thrill of finding that perfect XP farming spot. Players no longer have a reliable way to grind XP quickly, which I gotta say is rather demoralizing. It's like running on a treadmill. No matter how fast you go, you're not getting anywhere faster. XP farming isn't just about gaining levels, it's about the satisfaction of progression and the strategic planning to maximize efficiency. In many games, finding that perfect grind spot is part of the fun. In the Division 2, players have voiced their concerns on forums and social media. They miss the excitement of optimized farming routes and the sense of accomplishment that came with it. When every activity rewards the same XP, it removes the incentive to explore different strategies. Now, let's look at how other games handle XP and progression. Call of Duty, and even the new shooter X Defiant regularly features double XP events, giving players a clear window of opportunity to boost their progression. These events create spikes in player activity and keep the community engaged. Double XP events aren't a new concept. They're a proven way to re-engage the player base and reward active participation. So why hasn't the Division 2 adopted a similar approach? The Division 2 has seasonal content with various events and activities, but the only XP boosters entailed have been tied to manhunt targets, and they're capped. So this doesn't even really drive more playtime. It's just there. And there are a notable series of gaps in our events, times when there's no new content to engage with. How is it good for business to not have an event every week? These dead spots are perfect opportunities for special events like double XP weekends. I mean, at the very least. Instead, these periods often see a significant drop in player activity. Imagine how different it could be during these slow times if we had XP boosts to keep players logging in. The Division 2 community is incredibly passionate and vocal. Just go on YouTube, look at how many XP farm videos there are. It's one of the most popular subjects discussed in and out of the game. New players want XP so that they can get their watch up to speed. More seasoned players use XP to farm resources, which goes towards optimizing gear and the expertise system. The fact that players keep farming XP even though we don't even really have an XP farm is hard data showing XP is important to the player base. This opens up an opportunity for the developers to deliver new content that would directly impact playtime. Content from periodic double XP events to special game modes that offer bonus XP, but it often feels like our suggestions fall on deaf ears. Why not integrate double XP weekends during the quieter parts of the season? This not only gives players something to look forward to, but also helps maintain a steady player base throughout the entire year. Of course, we have to consider the developer's perspective. Balancing a game like the Division 2 is incredibly complex, mostly because of PvP, I gotta say, which is the minority of the player base. The devs might be worried about long-term impacts of too much fast tracking, but here's the thing. Player feedback is crucial. Ignoring the community's desire for more engaging progression methods can lead to frustration and actually decrease player retention. There needs to be a middle ground where both the game's balance and player enjoyment are considered. I don't see the harm in XP events now. Our watch's stats cap so there wouldn't be any unfair advantages in PvE or PvP gameplay that I can think of. When the devs rebalanced XP, part of it was to make PvP activities more rewarding and to keep agents from just doing a single activity over and over for the sake of XP. But in my opinion, that's the player's prerogative. But I don't think removing any possibility of an XP farm is the answer. Do you? The Summit game mode was the best XP farm in the game. Now, it's nearly the worst, or maybe it is the worst. But by removing the XP farms from the game mode, it's Ghost Town in there. Where does the Summit fit in the game anyways? As targeted loot, which is nice, but the loot drop rate and XP per hour is horrendous. And the randomized factions, a pain in the rear. Not to mention the random tasks they make you do from floor to floor. But even if you run 10 directives, it's still not worthwhile for the XP. It's just for the challenge of doing it. It's not very rewarding otherwise. I mean, at all. This actually creates an opportunity. It makes the Summit the perfect game mode to farm XP because it doesn't really have a place in our game. Countdown is great for farming gear. Summit for XP. The Descent game mode gives you blueprints, but it could also fill in the gaps as an XP farm mode too. But the Summit is ideal because it would allow you to run global events inside the game mode. Descent or Countdown do not. So I suspect there is a significant drop in playtime in those game modes during events, which again is not good for business. For 6 years, we've seen the impact firsthand. During periods without engaging events, the player base drops massively. It's so predictable. But then there are new updates or interesting challenges, players return in droves. The cycle is common in many live service games. It's clear, regular, well-planned events keep players engaged. Double XP weekends or special XP challenges could be exactly what the Division 2 needs to keep the momentum going, especially during slower seasons. I'm just gonna say it. It feels like the developers are really stingy when it comes to XP, and I don't get it. I mean, they can make so much more money if they capitalized on the opportunity. Players will actually spend more time. They will actually spend real money on XP bonus tokens if they had them for sale. Fine if they're not going to create a game mode for XP, but at least give us XP events in the season track. This is just good business at this point. Don't take it from me, take it from your sister game, X Defiant. Let's pivot slightly and talk about XP bonus tokens. Imagine being able to buy tokens that boost your XP for a limited time. Now, before you get worried about pay to win, hear me out. Once our watch is SHD level 2000, all our stats are equal with each other. The biggest advantage a seasoned player has over a new player when it comes to their build is how well it is optimized and the level of expertise they have on it. This all comes down to resources, and seasoned players already have the upper hand with a big watch and the ability to make resource mules. More on that subject here, but basically in just 4 to 5 hours in New York, seasoned players have all the resources they need to pump into gear, except for exotic components. New players have small watches, so mules are less of an advantage in comparison. When it comes to exotics and exotic components, XP events would be an equal opportunity for both new and seasoned players. New players often struggle to catch up with veterans in terms of watch stats, and this gap can be really discouraging. With XP bonus tokens, new players can speed up their progress and enjoy the game more alongside their experienced friends. It's a way to bridge the gap without making it feel like an endless grind. Of course, we don't want to break the game. These tokens would give a time-limited boost to XP, like a 4-hour period, instead of a massive XP dump. This way, players still need to play and engage with the game. It's about accelerating progress, not buying success. Plus, this could help the player retention. If new players feel they can catch up and be competitive, they're more likely to stick around. A more active and engaged player base benefits everyone. Better matchmaking, more lively social spaces, and a thriving in-game economy. Is it possible the Division 2 could deliver on this soon? Yes. If we look at the roadmap, not this season, but the next, the developers are going to launch Seasons 2.0. They're updating the season structure. In my humble opinion, I believe they are modernizing the revenue model for more microtransactions, and it is possible we could see XP events and purchasables at this time. The Division 2 has an incredible opportunity. The community is eager for more ways to enjoy the game and progress their characters. By introducing regular double XP events or other XP boosting activities, the developers can keep the player base engaged and happy. Let's make our voices heard on this, Bandidos. Mark your words below. Thank you for hanging out with me today. My name is Tuxedo Bandido, and this was another episode of The Division 2. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The Division 2. And if you like builds like this, check out the recommended build video I have here for you. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
When you buy a game from Ubisoft, enter the creator code Tuxedo Bandido to support the channel. Easy peasy.
Follow me.
I get it.